Okay, lesson 4, we're going to get into working on some more rock and roll based stuff now. I've given you enough of that simple old melody stuff from the Guitar Method books. Let's get into something a little bit more current. I want to get you going with power chords, okay? And I want you to understand something about power chords. First of all, power chords are something that a lot of rock players hear about, they start to use, they learn to use. They are not the be-all, end-all. They are really, to me, sort of a beginner's version of a much bigger, more important chord that you will eventually learn. And I will teach in this course something called a bar chord, where we have our first finger basically clamped down across all or most of the strings, creating what we call a bar, and then other fingers playing other notes to create the appropriate notes in the chord. That's something we call a bar, okay? It's very important, it's an essential skill, but I like to start people out with a sort of a simplified version of that, and a lot of players just use these things called power chords throughout their playing. I don't think you should, but it's a great place to start. So basically I'm going to have you play what is essentially a two-finger chord. And we are going to play, I'm going to put my first finger down on the 6th string, my third finger down on the 5th string. And where we're going to start for this lesson, I'm going to start with my first finger on the 3rd fret of the 6th string, and my third finger is going to be 2 frets higher at the 5th fret on the 5th string. And we're only going to strum those 2 strings. Okay, I'm not going to strum all the way through. Okay, you don't want all those other notes. And that's the reason why you want to learn to play bar chords eventually, because then the notes sound okay. But if you play a power chord and strum all those notes, they're going to end up sounding horrible. You don't want those. Alright? But we can do a lot of great things with power chords, and they're a great place to get started. Okay, I want you to get used to holding that shape and sliding that shape up and down the fretboard. Okay? Okay? I'm going to play 4 times on each chord and then slide up 1 fret. I'm just going to do that a few times. I want you to follow along with this or work on this a bunch. Okay? If you have any trouble moving this chord up and down, I know one of the things that commonly happens to people, especially in the beginning, is that when they take this chord shape and they slide it somewhere, the 3rd finger collapses down, and all of a sudden it's not 2 frets above the 1st finger and it sounds terrible. You don't want that. So you have to get used to locking that shape, that 1st and 3rd finger 2 frets apart. Okay? In the beginning, if you have trouble with that, if you're having a bunch of trouble with these chords, go ahead and practice just using the 1st finger and getting used to just sliding that 1st finger up and down. Part of the goal here is, besides the fingering, is getting used to fret numbers. You want to kind of get used to the fret numbers on your guitar and to being able to quickly know this is the 3rd fret, this is the 5th fret, this is the 6th fret. You want to get to know that. Eventually, hopefully, you'll go beyond that to learn what note names each of those frets are. But in the beginning, just to get used to playing the fret numbers or knowing the fret numbers is very helpful. A lot of songs that you try to learn or that your friends may try to teach you, they'll be telling you the fret numbers. And when they tell you the fret number, they're going to be telling you the fret number where they want your your 1st finger to be, the starting note of that power chord. All right? So we did that first exercise. How about if you go back down? Now let's take it and go 1 fret at a time, back and forth. 3rd fret, 4th fret. Well, I was strumming 4 times on each chord before. Now we're only doing 1 strum on each chord, and you need to get to where you can move that quickly. 1 strum on each chord. How about 5th and 6th fret? Now power chords are also played on the 5th string. So now my first finger is at the 3rd fret on the 5th string, and my other finger is 2 frets higher on the next string over, the 4th string. And we'll do the same kind of thing. work on it back and forth. Let's do the one strum exercise. 3, 4, 3, 4, 3, 4. Okay, eventually you want to become very fluent with this, with sliding this all up and down the neck, okay? So these are power chords, only 2 fingers, first and third finger. It's always got to be the first and third finger. Don't be doing first and fourth finger. That's a very bad habit. Don't be doing first and second finger. Don't be doing second and fourth finger. It's got to be your first and third finger. There's many reasons for this. One of them is that later on you learn to do something like this. Okay, and you need the correct fingers in place. All right? There we go.